Court come to order. Roll call, please.
Judge Deskins,
Yes.
Master Anderson.
Here.
Master Murphy. Master Robinson. Master Dotson.
Here.
Master Barney.
Here. Leo, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? All right. Approval of minutes of June the 30th, 16, July the 19th, 16, August the 2nd, 16. Need a motion.
Motion.
Need
Second.
a second. Roll call, please.
Master Anderson.
Yes.
Master Murphy. Master Robinson. Master Dotson.
Yes.
Master Barney.
Yes.
Judge Deskins.
Yes. Authorization to set motor vehicle and watercraft tax for 2017. I need a motion.
Judge, this is the same rate that we had.
It's nothing different.
What?
Nothing different on the rate.
I don't know. I just need
It's
a
the same.
motion to
Motion.
authorize the tax rate.
It's the
All right,
same.
I'll second that motion then.
Roll call, please.
Master Anderson. Master Murphy.
Yes.
Master Robinson. Master Dotson.
Yes.
Master Barney.
Yes.
Judge Deskins.
Yes. Second reading of ordinance approved CAECO leasing. John Doug, would you present the second reading?
This is a second reading of an ordinance approving a lease for the financing of a project, providing for the payment and security of the lease, creating a sinking fund, authorizing the execution of various documents related to such lease, and making certain designations regarding such lease. And Judge, that is the second reading. In summary form, it will require a motion, second, a majority vote, and before the court votes, I will remind the court that this action had been taken some number of months ago by way of resolution. The financing authority asked for an ordinance in lieu of the resolution, and so that's the purpose of doing this at this time. Will require a motion, second, majority vote.
Need a second. Roll call, please.
Master Anderson.
Yes.
Master Murphy.
Yes.
Master Robinson. Master Dotson.
Yes.
Master Barney.
Yes.
Judge Deskins.
Yes. Adoption of a resolution in support of designating the Kentucky Route 80 bridge near the Elkhorn City Hall in honor of Kelvin Stiltner and Jackie Ray Bumperjack Stiltner.
Let me read the resolution, if I may, Judge.
Yes.
This is a resolution of the Pike County Fiscal Court in support of designating the bridge on Kentucky Route 80 near Elkhorn City in honor of Kelver and Bumperjack Stiltner. Whereas Kelver Stiltner was born on September the 15th, 1932, and is one of the 15 children of Everett and Tilda Blair Stiltner. And whereas Kelver Stiltner grew up in Dunleary Coal Camp in Pike County, and whereas after serving his country as a member of the United States Army, Kelver Stiltner married Willa Yance in 1955, and together they had two sons, Keith and Jackie Ray, also known as Bumperjack. And whereas throughout most of his lifetime, Kelver Stiltner has held numerous jobs simultaneously, and his workday often lasted 12 to 15 hours with very little sleep. And whereas for 32 years, Kelver Stiltner worked in the local mines on the night shift, or hoot owl, as he called it. And whereas over 50 years ago, Kelver Stiltner opened Stiltner's Used Furniture, which is still in operation today. And whereas for 20 years, Kelver Stiltner worked as a custodian at a local bank, coordinated bluegrass concerts at the Breaks Interstate Park, for 20 years, and also hosted weekly auctions for a number of years, delivered coal to local residents, and provided moving services with his truck. And whereas Kelver Stiltner has always been committed to improving and serving his community, he taught local children how to square dance, is one of the several founding members of a local fire department, co-founded the Apple Blossom Festival, and for at least 20 years has purchased and delivered watermelons to local nursing homes every 4th of July. And whereas Kelver Stiltner was also the former leader of the Hillbilly Square Dancers, a group that was formed in 1971 during a strike at a local coal mine, and whereas the Hillbilly Square Dancers performed at nearly every Hillbilly Days festival at various state and local events, including an inauguration parade in Frankfort. In 1984, the Hillbilly Square Dancers were inducted into the Square Dance Hall of Fame at Renfro Valley. And whereas Kelver Stiltner's son, Jackie Ray Bumper Jack Stiltner, was born in Pikeville on February 8, 1964, and whereas Jackie Ray Bumper Jack Stiltner had a long and productive career in road construction until his retirement, and was beloved and admired in his community over his 30-year volunteer career with the Farrells Creek Fire Department. And whereas Jackie Ray Bumper Jack Stiltner was a member and past master of the Thomas C. Cecil Lodge number 375 F&AM, the El Hassa Shrine located in Ashland, a jester, the Pike County Shrine Club, and Whitewater Shrine Club, Hillbilly Clan number 1, Outhouse number 2, and an ambassador of the Shriners Hospital for Children in Lexington. And whereas Jackie Ray Bumper Jack Stiltner was the loving brother of Keith Stiltner, and whereas Jackie Ray Bumper Jack Stiltner departed this earthly life on January 1, 2011, and an entire community joined his family and friends in mourning his loss. And whereas the designation of this bridge will serve as a constant reminder to the life of Kelver Stiltner and the memory of his son, Jackie Ray Bumper Jack Stiltner, now therefore be it resolved that the Pike County Fiscal Court shall designate the bridge on Kentucky Route 80 in Elkhorn City as the Kelver and Bumper Jack Stiltner Bridge. Witness this my hand. This is the 16th day of August, 2016, to be executed by the Pike County Judge Executive, the Pike County Attorney, and each of the magistrates present here today. Thank you, Judge.
Yes, I would be honored to make the motion.
Judge, I'll second it, but I just want to remind everybody, it's already been named Kelvin Stiltner Bridge, and they're just going to add both their names to it.
Yeah.
I think, Magistrate Murphy, it was the Kelver Stiltner Family Bridge, and that's true. They're going to add Bumper Jack, and as a point of personal privilege, Judge, I would simply state that I have known both of these men since I got in politics back in 1979, and they've been my personal friends. Bumper Jack was a lodge brother. We're members of the Thomas C. Cecil 375 Lodge. But Bumper Jack is probably best known for his shrine work. Leo, in transporting the A-Team, Lisa, in transporting children in need of medical services to the Shriners Hospital in Lexington. He was devoted, absolutely devoted to that. And I feel honored and blessed to have had an opportunity to know him, work with him, and love him. Thank you.
All right. Is there any other comment?
Roll call.
Roll call, please.
Master Anderson?
Yes.
Master Murphy?
Yes.
Master Robinson? Master Dodson?
Yes.
Master Varney?
Yes.
Judge Deskin?
Yes.
Hey, Judge, before you move on, I think the next thing is awarding the bids. That's correct. I just want to make a couple comments. Back a couple of months ago, when we was in our budget cycle, I addressed the court and said I felt like we could look at our insurance premiums and save some money on that. And over the last couple of weeks, I found time to sit down to review our building contents, our equipment, and our vehicle insurance. We currently use CAECO Insurance to provide that service here at the county. How it works is each each piece of property, equipment has an assessment value to that particular piece, and there's roughly a 1% fee on top of that, which generates our annual premium rates. What I found, in my opinion, due to the age of the property and the condition of the equipment, just way over-assessed, which makes higher premium rates here at the county. One of the first things that popped out, that stood out to me, was the airport insurance. The county was providing insurance for the airport. My first question was, do we get reimbursed? So I started an investigation on that. John Doug Hayes reached out to the airport board attorney, and it was determined that the airport had already they have their own insurance on their facilities. I chased it back to 2013 as far as I could go, that the county was providing that service along with the airport. John Doug's reached out to CAECO and other individuals to see if there's any kind of reimbursements that we can get here at the county for that service. Another thing that stood out to me was there was an address listed on our sheets, a physical address, and I was very familiar with that property. And I couldn't, in my mind, picture where this property was, so I physically went there 3 or 4 different times, and I can't find the piece of property. It's assessed on our books for $400,000. So I reached out to Doug Tackett and asked him to pull it in his 911 system, and Doug's answer was, I don't have any address there either. So I asked Frankie yesterday to contact CAECO. I want to physically see the assessment sheet that's assigned to that particular piece of property. I mean, we got $400,000 worth of insurance coverage on this building with contents to a building that I'm not quite sure even exists at this point. All this just absolutely throws up red flags to me. It's just, you know, the overassessment. Just, I'm gonna give you a couple examples. There's a building over in the Majestic area. When I've had a conversation with Master Dotson on this building was given to the county, I think 2 decades ago, free of charge. I've reached out, I've talked to people that works on the building, that's been in the building, trying to get a estimated value on this building. And the best number that I got was maybe $100,000. It's a big building, it's a 20,000 square foot building, but the value of the building just isn't there. And when you look on their sheets, it's assessed at $1.7 million. Cool. Which to me just throws up red flags everywhere.
Brian, I just want to let the people in the court know I had nothing to do with assessing that building, and it's an old company store building.
Yeah.
That was gave to the county when Donna Dameron was the county judge. And you couldn't burn the building. I don't care what you done. It's all brick and block and cement. I mean, there's no wood in it. And for that kind of value on that building, I don't know how that happened. Or and I appreciate you doing this.
Well, I also want to say, Hillman, that there's not a magistrate sits up there that has the responsibility to look at these numbers and dig into it the way that I've dug into it. They just not, this information isn't available to them. And another thing I looked at on our overassessments is our fire trucks here in the county. And I thought they was overassessed, but I went to the experts over there that knows fire trucks that actually purchased these fire trucks, Doug Tackett and CJ, and we sit down. And to give you an example, a fire truck was purchased in 2000 with an assessment value of $250,000 back in 2000. It's still on our books assessed for $250,000, and that's no different than a vehicle. Everybody knows if you buy a vehicle, the day you drive off the lot, it depreciates. So I asked Doug and CJ to look at all of our equipment and get a current market value on these equipments. It was assessed on our premium payments at $8.6 million. And by working together, we was able to take that down to $3.6 million. Yeah. Taking $5 million off our equipment. Another thing I've seen that threw red flags is their building contents. You know, we have buildings rented here in Pike County that we have no personal property in, but we'd have $100,000 to $150,000 worth of content insurance on it. Another example, Blackberry Senior Citizen Center. You know, we had over $500,000 worth of contents in that building. We had more contents than the building was valued at. So being able to look at we looked at the fire departments, to look at our contents, what I was able to do was take another $5 million off our assessments to lower our premium rates here in the county. Now here's where I get very, very frustrated at this process. When we reached out to our current insurance provider to try to get these assessments deducted to lower our premium rates, keep in mind we're still right now in our premium payments. We're making payments to be insured this year. And our current insurance provider told me, well, you could go ahead and make your deductions, and then we'll give you a credit back next year. You know, to me, that was just unacceptable. I mean, we're making these payments now. We need the benefit of these discounts now, not next year. So what I'm going to suggest to the court is over the next 3 or 4 months, I'm going to work with Frankie. Frankie Stacy was awesome during this process. I want to work with Frankie and John, and I'm going to try to get and the last thing, our buildings, way overassessed, way overassessed. I gave you the Majestic Post Office as an example. There's another building here in Pike County that it's got window air conditioning. I don't think half the building is even in use. It's a large structure, 8,000 square feet. If we had a total loss there, there's no way this county would even build back to that facility. It's on our books for $750,000 with contents on it. And I asked to reduce them assessments, and I was told, no, you can't. We can't look at our building assessments. We're going to have to come back out and reassess these properties.
What happens if we cancel the insurance?
Well, that's where I was going, Bobby. The building in Phelps that was $1.7 million, we've already canceled that insurance. The only way that we can get a deduction is cancel the insurance. And now we won't cancel general liability on the facility, correct? We're just canceling the insurance. You know, I think over the next week I want to look at all of our structures and what they're valued at, and then I'll report back. But I think we need to look at all of our buildings to see, you know, I mean, if we can't afford to pay the insurance on these buildings, we can't afford the buildings.
That's right.
I mean, you know, bottom line. So over the next 3 months, I want to work to try to get our assessments on our buildings, on our properties in line. And I really think over the next 6 or 7 months, we need to at least look at bringing in a couple outside sources to bid this next year to keep, let's compare apples to apples.
Right.
I mean, I think we need to reach out and get this process looked at, and I think it's our responsibility to get the lowest premium rates that we possibly can for Pike County. Thanks for your time.
Brian, who done these assessments, and how long ago have we been paying this?
3 years ago, 3 to 4 years ago, the assessments was made, and it was made by a representative of our current insurance provider and a member of the past administration.
So it's been at least 3 years.
3 years. I think it's 3 years. Is that correct, Frankie? About 4 years ago. Yeah, you know, bottom line, I have personal insurance. I own a business. I have personal insurance. I can pick my phone up right now and call my insurance provider, and I can adjust my workers' comp. I can adjust my assessments on my properties. I mean, and he'll answer, and he's going to do it immediately. He's not going to tell me, well, we'll look at it this year. You know, I mean, if this was my personal business, I'd be looking at getting bids sooner than next year, but we've already made half our premiums for the year, so we're kind of stuck. But I think moving forward, I think that's the direction the court needs to go in.
Brian, I appreciate you looking into that. And I know it's gonna be a big savings to
Yeah, well, the 10.3 million off our equipment and off our contents, our last payment that we have to make is in August, is that correct, Jonda? October. That by itself should have generated, if you look at their numbers, $100,000 less going out. But I'm told, we'll give you credit next year.
No, we just canceled their insurance.
Well, my question is, you may not be around here next year providing this service to give me
Right.
my credits.
Right.
Brian, another thing, while you're into it, they jacked our deductible up on our vehicles, like to $2,500 deductible, ain't it, John? I mean,
It
if
went
they
from
can go that
500
route,
to 2,500 in order to save us like 150 at that point in time.
But
jacking that up and then charge us over what we're supposed to. Same people doing all this, ain't it?
if we can get our assessments in line on our property insurance, I mean, that would allow us to look at our deductions on everything. I mean, there's not a
Basically-
doubt in my mind that we can't cancel 20 more million off our assessments on our buildings. I mean, it's there.
What needs to be determined is what ones you all want to assure at full replacement cost. Because this is what they're saying is replacement
Right,
cost.
replacement
If you
cost.
have a brick and block building at these, replacement cost dollars is what they're looking at. So we basically need to decide what we want to replace if something happened to it at the current dollars, or are we just going to take our loss and go?
Well, at the end of there's no loans or liens on any of these buildings. I mean, it's not like we're asking to lower our assessment cost to save money and put more liability on them on debts or loans that may be owed on the property. There's just no reason why they can't take that structure over at Majestic Hillman they got assessed at 1.7 million and at least reduce it to 300,000 so we could have insurance on it and be able to move forward in the right direction. And it's just the age of the building and the properties, Jonda. I mean, I understand it'd take a lot of money to build back a 20,000 square foot structure, but when that structure was built in 1910 and the roof's caving in, it's not valued at $1.7 million.
Thank you. All right, awarding of bids, Frankie?
Judge, I've got two bids to present to the court. The first bid is bid number 31 for 2016. It's a NRCS watershed project on Grassy Creek over in District 3. We've received 6 bids. The first bid is A-grade construction of Elkhorn. Total bid price $381,820. Bid number 2 is from Mountain Reclamation of Phelps, $283,900. Third bid is from Mullins Enterprises of Pikeville, $187,770. Bid number 4 is from Prater Construction of Pikeville, $249,600. Bid number 5 is from Smith Construction of Canada, $325,000. And bid number 6 was from York Smith Construction of Pikeville, $189,500. It is recommended to award the bid to the lowest bidder, who was Mullins Enterprises, having the lowest evaluated bid price of $187,770. The next bid is bid number 32 for 2016. It's bulk crumb rubber landscaping mulch. We received one bid from Industrial Mulch Company of St. Louis, Missouri. The total bid price was $45,992. It is recommended to award this bid to the lowest bidder, Industrial Mulch Company, having the lowest evaluated bid price of $45,992. Has anybody got any questions?
On the mulch, is that get by grants? Okay.
Lisa, is that gonna come to one place and then be distributed out into the county?
And then
We've already received the money on the grant.
and I'm working with Paul right now and the detention center, the inmate work group on getting the property started. We'll probably start with the Hatfield McCoy Park, since they're doing their show right now, to get that one finished up before they get finished with showing the show. And then we'll move on from there to doing most and all of the county properties, the senior citizens, the housing, anything that we feel that, and the parks all will benefit from this.
Where you gonna unload this at?
It'll be, Paul will take care of that because they'll come in pallets.
Ford Mountain?
And then that first one is the NRCS, that's pass-through money also. That's a large slide on Grassy Creek of Raccoon, and that resulted from, I think it was a storm last July or something like that, and it's taken us that long to get the project, but that's what that one is.
Yeah. Okay.
Frankie, one thing, like on the first bids, those 6 bids, the difference in the highest bid and the lowest bid was $137,000. Are we giving them the same specs to everybody or something? I don't understand that.
The only thing I can think of is because, like Jeannie said, it's a real large slide that they're going to have to get up on the hillside, and just like the county was looking at maybe doing the work themselves, but you would have to have track excavators to get up there and take the. So, like, if that contractor doesn't have that equipment, he's going to have to rent it, and he's got to work that into his bid. Whereas another contractor, if he already owns it, he can bid lower. That's about the only thing I can work it, because the majority of this project's hauling dirt. It's a huge slide. It's about like the whole.
It's 22,000 cubic yards of dirt and debris to be removed,
So, other than just like if they own the equipment or if they have to rent it, it's about the only thing I could figure they factored into the price, or how far they have to haul the dirt if they found a location that they could dump it closer than what another contractor found or something like that. But the guy that was the lowest bidder, he has done NRCS projects in the past, and he's performed well on them, so we don't have any problem with the contractor.
Yeah.
And that project, Leo, will start Monday, this coming
Okay.
Monday. If,
I'll make a motion
did you
on-
get, oh, okay, yeah, we had to get a release from the property owner before because it's on a property owner's, the slide, but the slide was gonna go into the creek and has been into the creek. I think y'all dipped it several times, and then they was afraid it was gonna go into the road.
Keep moving a little bit and it keeps sliding now. I made the motion.
Yeah, that's, just need approval, yeah.
Did you make the motion, Leo?
I made the motion, yeah.
I need a motion and a second.
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Master Anderson?
Yes.
Master Murphy?
Yes.
Master Robinson? Master Dodson?
Yes.
Master Varney?
Yes.
Judge Jessica?
Yes. All right, Magistrate's Road Work, need a motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Master Anderson?
Yes.
Master Murphy? Master Robinson? Master Dodson?
Yes.
Master Varney? Master Varney for road work.
Yes.
Judge Jessica?
Yes. All right. Magistrate's comments, Jeff? Leo? Gilman?
Judge, I got a few. We got a four-wheeler ride coming up Saturday at 10 o'clock, starting over on Fedge Creek, Pawpaw Mountain, and going in to make one. And I just wanted to touch base on that. Is that right, Lisa? And
On the screen.
okay, and we've got we bought some drains, Jackie Darrell, several months ago from Troy James. Where we stand on them? Have we ever picked them up, or are we going to go get them, or are they over at Ford Mountain, or what's the status on that?
They're still at Troy's. We've attempted to get those several times, but every time it starts raining, it's been so wet, he don't want to see his bottom. But I talked to Ike. I was going to get Ike to move it, but his equipment's broke down. And so I talked to Bobby, and Bobby's going to use the boom truck, as I talked to him yesterday, I think one day this week, and pick them up if the weather don't turn bad on us again, and haul them up to the solid waste lot. They got more room. I talked to Jeff yesterday, and he's tied up on his room, but Bobby has the room up there to store them up, and you boys can come up there at the lot at the solid waste and pick them up. So we was working on it yesterday, which we tried in the past, but it just keeps raining. And Troy, I went up there and looked at him once myself, but he wants to wait till the area's dry. And so it's been a little bit drier than normal here lately, but it's been kind of tough. But we got it in motion this week, I think, Bobby, haven't we?
What we might ought to think about doing is maybe sending our crew over there with their trailers and just pick them up and take them to the road lot where they go. Maybe you can load them with a boom truck or something, Bob, is that possible?
I talked to the boom truck operator this morning. I can't really haul them in the boom truck due to the length, but I told him that we do need to get up there, if they can bring their trailers and just load them on it, and but he can load them.
Take them to the road lots, and that way you won't have to double load them and have to fool with it. I think it would be an idea that you think about.
You're getting a lot of, that's one idea, and we've discussed it before, but that's a small road up through there where you go, and if you get the men to come in at different times, road lot, and pick them up, we need to line them to do that, so everybody's not there at one time. That we could organize.
How many were there, Jackie? They're on what size?
There was different sizes. I think there's 20-some of them all total, but a few of them were short, if I remember the discussion.
By memory, Jackie, Darrell, seems like there's 21 or 22, and I think they're 3 foot.
There's some that's small. Most of them is about 20 foot, I think, ain't it?
About 24 inches, wasn't it, Jack?
Yeah, I think 24 inches.
So that's
We need to get them off there, because
6
Troy wants them
apiece or
off,
something
but
like that?
it's gotta be dry.
I think there's about 24 inches, and they was divided up 6 ways, every how many there
About
was.
6 apiece.
I believe we done paid for
Oh,
it.
no, Lord,
Done
no,
paid
it'd
him.
be about
Only
4 or
thing I'm
5.
thinking is if we get up there and we don't get up there in time in that soft lot, he's got them in the bottom of his, if we got them on an area there, it's hard packed dirt, we don't have to worry about it as we've had going to get them, not to get them. If we could get them and haul them up there at his road lot or his solid waste lot, then we don't have to worry about getting on his bottom if it rains again or not getting them or whatever. That's one thing I was thinking.
And our crew's out pothole patching and trying to ditch and clean up some of the flood work we've had, and just want to let people know that we are out there cutting weeds, doing the best we can with everything, and that's all I have, Judge.
All right, Bobby?
Yes, Judge, I do want to apologize to the people in my district for the last 13 days now. My wife had her knee replaced, so I've been babysitting. I've been knee sitting is what I've been doing, I guess, But I'm the chief bottle washer, cook, and all of her underwear is a real pretty pink now because I don't know how that red cloth got in there with that load of clothes that I washed, but like I told her, I'm the only one supposed to be looking at them anyhow, and I like that color, so that's, But no, it has been hectic around the house there for a while, and I had neglected some time that I had been spending at the courthouse. I go up of the evenings or early in the morning and get my messages and stuff and try to get back all them. Just hang with me, because she got her staples taken out this morning, and the doctor was real pleased with the progress that she's making. We're cleaning up litter again, Judge, and I'd like to make a comment and a prayer request for Kent Stacy and his wife. Kent's wife is in the hospital now. She's had some bad diagnosis of things, but let's just keep remembering them in our prayers and stuff. But let's keep that litter picked up as much as we can. I cut some weeds and stuff along the road, the state highway and stuff. I noticed all the trash was hidden down in those weeds, so we got to get back out there and get that stuff cleaned up. And I just admire the people that do that, and my hat goes off to them. Thank you, Judge.
Judge, if I can too, I'd also like to tell the magistrates, some may know, some may not know, but I've been in a lot of contact with Ms. Thacker over there the last week or so on the senior citizen centers. And the last court meeting, Bobby, you asked a question, how many home delivery meals had lost? It was roughly 6,000. With the help from the co-severance tax, the $62,000 that was pushed towards the senior citizen centers, all senior citizen centers is going back to their normal daily activity. If it was a 4-day-a-week center, it's going to a 4-day-a-week center. The only change that's going to be is Phelps will be a 4-day-a-week center, and Pikeville will be the 5-day-a-week center. And all the 6,000 home delivered meals that was lost due to the reshuffling, all that's back on. All that is back. I know Sheriff Scott has ordered his cruisers for the Sheriff's Department.
Brian, I just got a message from Amy. One thing we want to report on the House Bill 303 co-severance items that we submitted. The county has done all their paperwork, all the requests, everything is there. However, no legislators have concurred with any of these projects right now. So we have to wait until all the legislators concur. So we're waiting on their request. But until we get the request, none of that has gone through yet.
All's been delivered to them. All they got to do is sign off on it and send it
Exactly.
forward.
All letters support letters have been delivered to all the legislators, and they've all, I've reached out to many of them personally to sort of nudge this on along so we can get this money and start working with it.
There was a lot of talk in the beginning, the $62,000 for the senior citizen centers, but all that money is going to the senior citizen centers. I met with Diane and members of her board, and they reported to me exactly what that money was going to be spent on, what it's going to do, and so all of that confusion.
Right, and we finalized that yesterday with DLG,
Correct.
the Department of Local
But
Government.
I just wanted to give y'all an update on the senior citizen centers and
Good. Thank you.
and
Thank
the
you, Brian.
meals.
Lisa, if I may, Judge, spoke with my co-counsel on the case that's pending in the Court of Appeals, and we're under some time constraints. He asked me if I wanted to move forward on faith. I said, no, I'm a lawyer. I don't operate on faith. I believe there's going to be no problem with our legislators, but we need to, continue to follow up with them because we are under some time constraints. And either we got a settlement or we don't have a settlement. Thank you.
The ones that was closed, Marbone and the Phelps Center, she's got federal guidelines she's got to go by. The directors has to go through training, the cooks has to go through training. I think it's approximately the first of the month, everything should be up and running again. I know she went through the hiring process this week, and she's got all the people hired in, and so you're looking at the 1st of September.
Well, now, will that make a difference if, for some reason, the co-severance does not come through?
It's coming through.
Okay. Just making sure.
It has to come through.
You're not a lawyer, but you don't operate on faith.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be any issues. I mean, they all reported to a couple of them had comments in the paper about moving forward. I mean, I don't think there's any issues with it. I'll reach out and try to talk to some of them to see what the holdup is.
All right.
At
Treasurer
the next court meeting, we'll have to do an amendment to the budget because none of that monies are in our budget because we wasn't anticipating anything. So we'll have to go through the process of amending our budget too.
Judge,
Yes.
I may interrupt before the treasurer does her business. We have the Pike County Clerk present, Rhonda Taylor, and we're going to discuss in executive session some potential litigation, but Rhonda, and I don't want to put you on the spot or embarrass you. I know we hadn't discussed this, but I wonder if you would mind addressing to the court and the public what some of your concerns were with regard to the most recent petition to place the question on the ballot as to whether or not to have a commission form of government versus a magistrate form.
You guys know that last year a petition was submitted. According to what a petition is supposed to consist of, it did not. This year, they presented another petition. You have to have at least 1,200 signatures. This one didn't contain 1,200 signatures at all.
Rhonda, just
I
to
think-
clarify, which one didn't contain 1,200 signatures?
The second,
Neither one of them? Okay.
but with the two combined, it did. Now, I'm not an attorney. I don't see how it could be legal, but according to my legal counsel, he says that it is, because the petition was not dated and that it hadn't actually been turned in because the deadline was missed. So therefore, they say that it can be added to the second set of petition. So my concern was, can you add two petitions together? What about signatures that, it's not against the law to sign a petition 100 times if you want to, but it is against the law to count it more than once. Had a lot of people that signed 2 and 3 times. So, I mean, and unless you knew who they were, you recognized the names, you probably wouldn't even have called it. You've got a lot of people that have moved out of our area since last year, so that was another factor. And you had people who were deceased, so that was another factor. But according to what I was told by my counsel, that at the time when it was signed, it should be valid regardless. So that's where we stand at that. I went ahead and certified it. I didn't feel good about certifying it, but given the situation where 2 petitions are combined, then it would have met 1,200 registered voters.
Did you reach out to any of your other colleagues from other counties and ask clerks? Have they been in the same situation? Any advice from colleagues down the road, Rhonda?
A few other clerks said absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
But, you know, now they could have misunderstood what the question was. I don't know. Like I said, that's where we stand with the petition. Now, while I'm up here, I'm just going to go ahead and address a whole lot of other things. I could care less what the question is on this ballot. If, for example, the question was, can Rhonda Taylor be the clerk again in 2019, and it required 500 signatures, and I only got 497, I would have to say, sorry guys, I can't be your clerk this time. It either is or it isn't. There's no gray. There's no count it this time, don't count it next time. It is what it is. Now, I won't be bullied by any group or any person unless I would choose to be. Of course, we've already had that discussion. Branch offices. A lot of talks going on Facebook. Now, I personally have not had time to get on Facebook in over a year and something because I'm very busy with this job. It's very demanding. Supposedly, the Blankenship guy, I forget his name every time, it's over top of the Pogger group, says that I have no legal obligation to touch this petition at all other than to take the order to the sheriff with a certification. I have a court order from a judge that says, subject to verification of 1,200 signatures, when a judge sends you a court order, you better comply. Now, John Doug and I spoke about this. We need to get a set of rules for our county that governs the way petitions are to be followed here. What are the guidelines that you want us to follow? I've heard 65.050 for the last week and a half. I'm about quoting it in my sleep. Now, not everything is to be taken literal. You can't get a court order, certify it, and send it to a sheriff until you had a chance to look at it and make sure it's valid. Now, I was under the impression that once I checked it and sent it back to the judge to make his decision, I thought a new court order would be issued, saying it would be, it is to be put on the books, because this one said subject to verification. I was wrong. But we've got it certified. We've got everything that we need to take care of, as far as I know, on our behalf. I want to address the branch offices closing. I want to address the deficit that we're in. Bobby Varney, you'll know all about this. Can you tell me at current, how far in debt is the clerk's office?
Can I?
Yeah.
No, ma'am.
Well, you seem to be able to tell everybody that we're running in a huge deficit.
I've told everybody that.
Would you like for me to pull up the Facebook page?
Well, I don't get on Facebook. If you're going on Facebook, they say all kinds of things on Facebook. That don't mean it's the gospel.
People wanted to know how they could come over here and address the clerk about getting the branch offices open back up. Wanted to know if they could get on the agenda. You told them yes. Was they sure they could speak? And you said they should be able to. I'm not quoting that word for word, but I could. And that's fine. That's fine. I understand everybody's frustration with the clerk's offices being closed. However, we are pulling out of our deficit. It's a slow process. It's my plan. I really don't plan on ever coming back before this court again and asking for any supplement money. And let me tell you why. When I've been to clerk meetings throughout the state, I addressed that question. I said, I need to ask a question. How many of you in here get supplement money from your fiscal court? Didn't see any hands go up. Now, that could have been because maybe people that got it were not there. I don't know. Didn't see any hands go up. I said, well, who is responsible for the deficit of the clerk's office if it's in the red? You are. Unanimously, you are. So this lady here behind this podium is the one that is responsible. Now, I don't have $50,000 or $100,000 or $2.5 million or $1 million or any amount to pay a deficit in that office. And quite frankly, anybody that would work a job where they'd have to pay to work it, be something wrong with them. So here's where I stand. I have a plan, and I've got my fingers crossed it's going to work. By January, February at the latest, I'm hoping that I'll have the branch offices open back up. I've already been able to put 2 girls back to work. It's a slow process. I've asked for everybody to please be patient and understanding, because it was not an easy thing to do. It was a hard thing to do. I lost a lot of sleep, worried a lot about it, but you know what? Sometimes you just got to step up to the plate and do what you got to do. And as I've preached it, I don't know how many times at this podium, you got to make do with what you got to make do with. As of current, on the 2550 report that I have turned in, you should have a copy in front of you today. They update these at different times. My office is currently $37,257.99 in the red. Last month, sorry, guys. We were $81,109.61 in the red. We have pulled out $50,000. I think that's pretty good. The month before that, we were $50,000 in the debt. The reason it jumped up so much, we had to do the layoffs, we had to pay people. We had to pay them for their vacation time, we had to pay them for their salaries, things that were owed to them. Now, I don't know whether or not my plan will work or not, but like I said, I've got my fingers crossed. I'm doing everything that I can, and I think the clerk's office is doing its part to try to stay out of y'all's financial business as far as you don't have to give us anything. Because, like I said, I think we were one that I know of, there may be more out there, that even got this to begin with. So there is nothing that says we have to have it. Now, I've also heard there's some money coming through. Hillman, will you quote me the figures? Because I can't quite remember.
Rhonda, I think it was 460, or the co-severance money that we just divvied out. 412,000. You know, I met with you at Phelps Courthouse one day, and we talked about this.
So much for senior citizens, so much was for sheriff, and what was the other?
And the sheriff and teleworks.
Okay.
And you know, I told you at the time that I felt like that money should be split between you and the sheriff, and maybe help you get your financial situation in order to where you open your offices back up.
And I appreciate that more than you will know. However, I can't agree with you on that. If that money was for the sheriff's office, I think that's where it needs to go. Because next year, when there's no money there, and I've got these offices open back up, I'm back in the same boat. I'm just using a different oar.
But Rhonda, you know, I talked to Rodney, and I told him how I viewed this situation. You know, I know you needed to put people back to work, and I felt like that would be economic development. That money was supposed to be used for in the beginning, because you'd be using it to put people back in their jobs. And, you know, maybe he could have got by with 100 and gave you 100, and everything would have been okay until later on. But I'm sure there's going to be some more co-severance money coming down the pike, and I think it would be easy for us to show putting people back to work using that money is what its solely intent was for. And, you know, I appreciate you having the nerve to stand up and do what you're doing. You don't dodge the issues, you hit them head on. And that's the way I believe that we need to be. You know, we might get criticized by some people, but you can lay down at night and sleep and say, you know, I done what I thought was right. And I see your points on a lot of these issues that you just brought up about the petition. I feel like, you know, if that petition didn't go through last time, then it should start over again. And I might be wrong. You know, I've talked to the county attorney this morning. He's kind of got his doubts. You know, he's seeing both ways now, I believe. So, you know, who's to know who's right and who's wrong?
What has changed your mind, John Doug?
Not John Doug. I'm talking
He's
about
referring
Keith.
to Keith Hall.
Okay. Well, what has changed his mind?
I think, can I answer?
Go ahead.
What's happened, Rhonda, and, you know, I was involved with you early on. We had one of the proponents of the petition who argued, for example, that you didn't even have the right to go over that petition and certify the number. You remember that little discussion we had?
Yes, I remember that. I sent for him to come. I found out he was coming to the courthouse, and I never met him, and I thought maybe we could reason with this individual to show, hey, sir, this is what the process is. I'm not trying to meddle, so to speak, as he says. It is in the Pogwa's business. I could care less what their business is. That's their group, and they can run with it and do whatever they choose to do with it, just as any group could. My job is to only look at what is brought before me and to be honest and thorough.
Rhonda,
That's why I'm good at my job.
Rhonda, And if you'll remember that discussion, I said, well, that's ridiculous. The statute provides that once the petition is filed, it comes to you and you have 5 days to act on it. And when you've acted, then you send a certified copy, which you did in this case, to the sheriff. The sheriff takes it, sends it to the local paper. It's advertised. But just addressing that, and this goes back to your question, why was there some change? I've done some considerable research, as you did, and I compliment you on that. You made a great effort to do the right thing, to do the legal thing, and that's what we're all doing. Now, we'll all get criticized because we may not necessarily agree with the proponents of this question being put on the ballot. So be it. After 44 years of practice of law, I am used to folks disagreeing with me. Sometimes they're right and sometimes they're wrong, but you know, we do the best we can to move forward. Well, let me just address from Attorney General's opinion in 1992, which you had a copy of. You had it before I did. It's a 7-page opinion, by the way, addresses question after question on these types of petitions. This one at issue was a local option, but they're analogous. They're analogous to this argument that you don't have any duty to go over these signatures and certify them. Most ridiculous legal position I've ever heard, by the way. It wasn't a lawyer that advanced that. This is just part of it. What are the duties of the county judge executive upon the filing of a local option petition? It is the duty of the county judge executive to determine the sufficiency of the petition and call an election if the petition is valid. Now, I'm not going to read the rest of that paragraph. I'm going to go to the second paragraph. As a practical matter, the county judge executive should enlist the cooperation of the county clerk to determine whether the petition bears valid signatures of a sufficient number of registered voters. Now, that's exactly what happened in this case. Yet, a proponent wanted to criticize you and argue with me, if you'll remember that. Okay, we look down at some of the other legal issues. Let's discuss the facts before we get on the law, because the law is convoluted and unclear, frankly, and we've all found that out. I think you and I agree wholeheartedly on that. And I've said in this court over and over again, if the law were crystal clear, we wouldn't have 100 and some lawyers practicing in Pikeville, Kentucky. We'd have maybe one, okay? But we get into legal arguments over things like statutory wording. We get into legal arguments like Attorney General's opinions and on court opinions and so on. Turn that off, Brian. I'm on a roll. All right. We had last year a petition, and we followed this procedure in accordance with this Attorney General's opinion. It went from the judge down to you, right?
Correct.
And you made a great effort to try to certify that these were valid, 1,200 valid registered voters in this county. As I recall, and you correct me if I'm wrong, you came up with 1,180. But there were two problems with regard to that petition, as you're well aware. It came in a manner that it could not be timely filed. The law, the statute governing putting this kind of question on the ballot says that it has to be approved, the judge's order, Judge Deskins' order, has to be entered in order to get this question on the ballot by the 2nd August before the general election in November, all right? The problem was we couldn't have a regular term of this court before the 2nd August. It came on the 3rd Tuesday in August, so it could not possibly be timely filed as a matter of law, not any decision by the judge, this attorney, or Rhonda Taylor, the law. It could not be properly put on the ballot. In addition to that, there was another problem. You couldn't certify 1,200 names. I think the figure, Rhonda, and you correct me if I'm wrong, was 1,180?
He's coming here.
That's right.
And we stretched pretty good, probably, or you did, to get 1,180. I mean, you worked hard. You went through your records, the voter registration records, the only way you could really certify. And in that regard, let me tell you something else that you already know, and I know, but this court may not know, and the public may not know. They signed these, the registered voters of the county. That's required by law, correct?
Yes.
Now, what if somebody dies that signed that petition? What if somebody moves to Fayette County before that petition is filed? Oh, the proponents would say, oh, no, they were registered voters when they signed the petition, therefore you have to count them. That's not what the Attorney General has directed. The Attorney General has said it's the date, the significant date is at the time the petition is filed. And you know that, and I know it. But they want to argue, oh, no, they were a registered voter at the time they signed the petition, therefore you're required to count them. Well, now, you come and you read this Attorney General's opinion, which you found, and you research, and you say, no, that's not true. If they're dead when it's filed, if they're moved when it's filed, if they've removed their names from the books when it's filed, they can't be counted as a registered voter. Another legal issue. Now, the question becomes, having had a petition last year that you couldn't certify and that it could not legally be put on the ballot, can you take a second or a subsequent petition, the one that you most recently considered? Had 800, Rhonda, I believe, and 88 names. Is that correct altogether?
Yeah.
Many of them were duplicates, and not only...
Actually, I probably couldn't certify that many. That's just how many registered voters that I could find, and I didn't go any further because I didn't think the first petition would be...
Okay, I understand that. I understand that. Now, here's another question that's never been resolved, and I assume that the electronic signing of a petition may be valid. I don't know. There's not a court case on that. You had a lot of electronic signatures. On that 888, there were people that signed it 2, 3, and 4 times. You noticed that. And some of those people who signed it 2, 3, and 4 times had also signed the one that never got certified. Is that correct?
No.
All right.
No, not 4 times. I know of at least signing twice.
Well, all right.
So at least 3.
That's for illustration purposes. I apologize. So 2 or 3 times, right? Even on the 888, and some of those reflected back to the first petition. So the legal question becomes, can you take that second petition and allow it to be supplemented to that first one? All right, I read this Attorney General's opinion. If you'll give me just 1 second, they somewhat addressed this. And I'm sorry, Judge, I'm taking so much time. The question the Attorney General in 92-132 answered, may the proponents of a petition submit additional signatures after the petition has been filed? Well, that was our question, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And so we tried to look at the law. I told you initially that I thought they could, if you'll recall. And I think Keith Hall then, you talked to him later, and he agreed with me. I believe is what the situation was.
If the petition hadn't been removed from the custody of the judge, though, so to speak.
That's right.
You could have names added to it. Is that the one you're going to read?
Okay. Let me just read you what the Attorney General says. We conclude that the various authorities on this issue may best be reconciled by the following rule. Now, this is after they've gone through a convoluted legal reasoning process where they've got a court, Horton v. Botts, an old 1914 case, Attorney General's opinions, lawyers who are differing with one another, even Attorney Generals who are differing with one another. That's my point. Lawyers do read law and differ. Let me go on. We conclude that the various authorities on this issue may best be reconciled by the following rule. A local option petition, and I said this is not local option, this is to get this question on the ballot as to form of government. Analogous all the way, though. Local option may be supplemented at any time before the county judge executive has made a determination regarding the sufficiency of the petition. Well, guess what? By not putting this question on the ballot with regard to the first petition, he had made a determination it was not sufficient. It could have been because of the law had not been complied with as to timeliness of filing, or it could have been on another basis, the fact that you couldn't certify 1,200 registered voters. Let me go on. has made a determination regarding the sufficiency of the petition. After the county judge has determined that the petition either is not sufficient, the petitioners may not tender the supplemental signatures. And then they overrule a 1983 Attorney General opinion and their own Attorney General's opinion and a 1970 Attorney General. And so therein lies the difficulties. I think there are serious legal issues. I agree with you. The county attorney, earlier this morning, I'm talking about the county attorney, not the assistant county attorney judge, has recommended, based on what you have told the public and told this court, that it be put into court on a declaratory judgment action. And let's see if we can get some law clarified, which will help you, me, and everybody else in the future. End of my speech there. I'm sorry I took so much of your time. I apologize
okay.
to the court, okay?
Back to the petition, like I said, I don't care what the question is on the ballot or what it concerns. That has nothing to do with me personally. I would not stand in the way of putting something on, certifying something for yes or no. That's not my job. I can't decide what goes on a ballot other than if it meets the criteria. So I want the citizens to know that I would never try to stand in the way of what's right. Do I always do what's right? I'm sure sometimes I don't. But I think it's right.
Rhonda?
And me and the judge talked about this not too long ago. He was standing up here, and I don't know if you remember, Judge, but I'm going to refer back to the occupational tax. He said, I did what I thought was right. And I said, Judge, as long as you do what you think is right, then you'll be just fine.
Rhonda, if you'll recall our meeting when we were going over some of these issues, you and I agree wholeheartedly. I told the proponent of the petition, I said, I hope it goes on the ballot. And if you'll remember, I instructed you, if there's some question, and it's a technical matter, come down on the side of the petitioner. In other words, come down on the side. If it's a technicality.
You did, because some people put down that their birth year was 2016.
Right.
Now, normally, I wouldn't have counted that.
I told you to count it. I knew the fella. He's a registered voter in the Dorton precinct. That was obviously a typographical error. And I'd love to see this on the ballot and put it behind me, but as a lawyer representing this court, I'm paid, Magistrate Dotson, by you fellas to represent you. And what kind of lawyer would I be if I don't tell you what I think about the issues, the legal issues pending before you?
Well, that's the key word, legal, because I think a lot of people are under the impression it's just a question that goes on a ballot. Well, once it's brought into either one of these offices and it's filed, it is a legal document. It's no different than a deed that's put on record, or transferring a vehicle to someone, or any other will. There's no difference. It becomes a legal document. And with a legal document, there are legal responsibilities, regardless of what the question is. Now, I intend on upholding my end of my responsibilities. Now, but I need to address a few more things before I get off here. I know I've been up here long enough, but I still got some things I want to say. Back to the branch offices. And people coming to address the court to see if you can open them back up. Anybody at any time is welcome to come to me in my office or in this courtroom or on the street or wherever. I'll be happy to address those issues. But I do not think that one office is a bit better than another office. It doesn't matter how much money it takes in or how many people are working there. I'm not going to treat Belfry any different than Phelps, and I'm not going to treat Phelps any different than Elkhorn City, and I'm not going to treat Elkhorn City any different than any other office that we have. I have been fair, and as a matter of fact, the only reason they're open one day a week is because I have been going out trying to help work them, because we just don't have the people. But like I said, today, we got 2 people hired back, so that freed me up so I could come here today. I've also heard about people saying they went to offices and they've transferred things and they didn't charge me any sales tax, so why did why did I have to pay $300 and you didn't? Well, I'm sure there was a reason why. They had either paid sales tax in another state, or they had some type of exemption from who they purchased the vehicle from. It could have been coming from one of their parents. It could have been a dirt bike. It could have been a four-wheeler. I mean, there are different situations. But let me assure you, if you were supposed to be charged sales tax and we failed to do so, the IRS will be getting a hold of you and us. That's about all I've got to say right now.
Rhonda, thank you very much for your time.
All right, we're over the treasurers.
We can break for executive session if you want to, Judge.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bobby, read KRS for executive session, litigation and personnel.
At this time, I'd like to make a motion that we go into executive session in accordance with KRS 61.810, paragraph C, proposed or pending litigation, and paragraph F, Pacific personnel. I make that a motion.
Second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson, Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson, Mr. Dodson,
Yes.
Mr. Varney,
Yes.
Judge Deskin.
Yes. Court be adjourned. Court come to order.
Just a couple of personnel, need to acknowledge the resignation of Brian Johnson effective August 5th, 2016. Brian was the general manager of the golf course and a 7-year employee at the county. Approval to hire Matthew Jones temporarily, replacing Jimmy Bentley as driver for lot number 5 at a 3H rate of pay, effective 8/10/2016. That's the judge's recommendation.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson, Mr. Dodson,
Yes.
Mr. Varney,
Yes.
Judge Deskins.
Yes.
Is it going to work over for you?
What have we got next? Treasurer's business?
John Doe, can you have the second reading of the ordinance approving the Keiko lease? Do you have a copy? Oh, you've already done it?
We did
Okay.
that.
Authorize the necessary transfers and interfund transfers to pay the bills, payroll, health, life, and dental insurance.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson, Mr. Dodson,
Yes.
Mr. Varney,
Yes.
Judge Deskin.
Yes.
Authorize the payment of the expenditure approval list dated August 15th, 2016, and any other utility and telephone bills received before the checks are run. The vendor claims list is $1,884,017.32. We have the lease payments on the 2012 and 2013 bond issues that are due.
Mayor.
Need a motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson, Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson, Mr. Dodson,
Yes.
Mr. Varney,
Yes.
Judge Deskin.
Yes.
Acknowledge the receipt of the sheriff's and the clerk's 2550 reports for July 2016.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Dodson,
Yes.
Mr. Varney,
Yes.
Judge Deskin.
Yes.
I have no further business.
Are you done, babe?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, public comment. Where's John Doe? Right here, We need to do some business on what we ain't got to do with, and many times we've talked about, the Hidden Valley and the bridge. If we'd have had the money, we'd have already done that stuff. We just don't have it. John Doug, you explain some of that?
Judge, there seems to be a misconception about public comments. I've heard people threaten to sue this court, get a lawyer if we don't let them talk forever and a day. Some of them want to talk multiple times. I don't know the number of times some of these folks have been here and signed up for public comments, and maybe I've missed something, but I hear the same thing over and over and over again. As a result, 2-hour meetings becoming 3.5 hour, and on and on. And look, nobody wants to cut anybody off from commenting. Let me read, Judge, if I may, the Pike County Administrative Code, Section 120, Court Meetings. This is Subpart 14 on Parliamentary Procedure. Subpart O, little o. Citizens present at the court meeting may speak on any subject being considered by the court. The presiding officer, that's you, Judge, the presiding officer shall limit the comment of citizens attending when those comments are no longer helpful to the court in making their decision, or when the meeting becomes unruly. And court and judge pay particular attention to the last, or the comments become repetitious. Now, that's what the code says. Judge, you're the presiding officer. I'm just the attorney who reads the law to this court. If we want to hear the same people, one of whom I know loves to be on TV, if we want to hear those same people make the same comments, court meeting after court meeting after court meeting, that is this court's decision. That's all I have, Judge.
Well, we are busy doing our work and getting things done, but Blake Walker, if you've got anything new, and I don't mind to listen to you, but we got other business to do.
Well, I think I've got something new. Last time I was up here, well, time before, you got Summit Engineering, and Jody's sitting back here, and to go down and give a price on building a bridge. Well, he sent the proposed location to the court. Now, it's my understanding that he can't go ahead and figure up a cost on that bridge until the court gives him the okay that that's where they want the bridge put. And I mean, Jody could probably explain it better.
No,
but that's what he's telling me.
Yeah, Mr. Walker, that's exactly what we talked about prior to this meeting. And if you can look at the picture up here, the old bridge, show them, Lisa, where the old bridge is. That's where your old bridge is. And it's designed right now for the new bridge to go in there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this property that it goes on belongs to your sister, correct?
Correct. Do you remember where I showed you my property line went there? Go back, be to your right from here. You see that line right up through there, right up on our oak, then go to the right again. Now that is my property to the right there. Hers is back to the left of that line.
What I want to do now, Mr. Walker, is ask the court to make a motion and vote on alignment placement as it is on this map, even though it's on your sister's property. But if we can get a motion and the court ordered that on the alignment placement, that'll free up Summit Engineering.
With general conformance, that way it could be moved.
Yeah, with the general informant where it could be moved, that'll free up Summit Engineering, correct, Jody, on at least getting us back a quote on what the cost of this bridge is. And that's moving this project forward. Not saying that we'll have the money to put the bridge in, but at least we'll all have an idea on what the cost of the bridge will be.
Okay.
So that, not to cut you short, but
I make a motion, we do that.
there you go.
When we get the cost on it, then we're gonna go ahead and see if we can get the state to send it into the state, to see if we can get them to pay part of the bill.
When we get the cost on it, we'll sit down and address it at that point.
I'll second that motion.
Before we vote, don't we need to get
Let me say
the
one
right
more
of way?
thing.
No. You can get a budget estimate without
Master
having
Dodson, he'll have to,
what?
Summit will have to figure in the approximate cost of procuring this right of way. Now, we're gonna have to either negotiate with the sister, because this, when this is changed, you're going off of the old road, and you are going over some of your sister's property. So we'll have to, somehow, that's Summit's problem, they'll have to
I'm
figure
just-
out
I'm just
about
real-
what that property is gonna cost based on what it costs down there. Thank you.
I'm just really interested, Master Dotson, in the cost of the bridge. This gets us to that point.
Well, you know, that's good.
This
to do
does
that,
not commit to
but
court.
If you don't have property to build it on, you'll waste a lot of time, looks to me like.
Well, what I've been told, you have to have the price of the bridge, and John Doug has told me that he has to see everything on paper before he knows what he has to condemn. Am I right, John Doug?
Absolutely.
So,
Where it's on her property, I have to know that. And of course, it wouldn't necessarily go into condemnation. We'd sit down and try to negotiate. But I have to know exactly where it's going to be. But I understand your question. When you don't know if you got the money, you're going through a lot of effort too. So which came first, the chicken or the egg, I guess?
then you turn around, Jody has to have permission from the court before he can go ahead and get a price on the bridge and draw it up till John Doug knows what he's going to do.
You know, Mr. Walker, I can't see where that you have to pay people to build a bridge to their property. I mean, if they own property, look to me like they'd want a bridge on it. And it makes it hard to have to go buy property and then build a bridge to their property.
Well,
That's just my opinion.
I mean, they own property over there, same as I do. And I can't pick my land up and move it over on the other side of the creek. And that
Well-
land is useless
Well, now, Blake,
without a bridge.
the county doesn't have any money to do it with. If everybody would agree.
I know, but can we at
But
least go
I've
ahead
heard you last year and this year.
and send it in to
And
the
if
state?
you've got anything new, tell us about it later.
Ask for a roll count.
Well, can you at least send it in, get a cost on building it, and then send it in to the state, see if they'll pay anything?
All right.
Judge,
Need
you
a
got
roll-
a motion
I
and
need
a
a roll
second.
call.
Need a roll call.
I want the motion restated, correct?
It's to do.
I just made a motion as to what Brian said we need to
It's
do.
to
He
do
may,
the
we may need to
alignment.
clarify it.
It's to do the alignment for the bridge with general conformance that will allow a Summit to be able to move the bridge to it, but it's in general conformance of what's on the map.
Okey-doke.
Is that okay, John Doug?
Master Anderson?
Just a second, Rose.
Excuse me, Rose. I think that's fine, except we probably need to say, once Summit does that, that they would provide us at least with an estimate of the cost of constructing the bridge. Jody? Is that? That's correct. That's where we're going. All right, that's the motion, Madam Clerk.
Okey-doke. Master Anderson?
Yes.
Master Murphy?
Yes.
Master Robinson? Master Dotson?
Yes.
Master Barney?
Yes.
Judge Deskin?
Thank you. Blake, thank you.
Before I leave, Brian, got to give credit where credit's due. Brother, I think you're doing a fine job of finding these red flags, as you call them,
Yeah.
and helping the county out. And Bobby Varney, if I was you, I'd make sure I had a hold of the remote for the television when this is aired, because you might not see for a couple more days when that woman finds out.
Thank you.
All right. John Thacker? John, I appreciate you, and we've heard a lot of traffic there, but we still don't have any money.
Well, you got a borrowed $2.5 million, did you?
0.5 million?
Yeah.
We borrowed it, but we got other bills to pay.
Well, I can't understand, Judge. The county crew's been working down there on the creek last week, and I see the truck go by the day before I come out. I can't see why one man in this county, or a county attorney, made one decision, this county can't work down there.
Yeah.
And it's just on account of one person. He done that.
Don, yeah.
And it's just not right to treat me and our citizen down there. And I wish Jim's would come down when it was raining Saturday week ago, how heavy it rained, you can see what water was down there. And their bottom need to be drained. That's what I come to ask this court. I don't care what Mr. Hayes says, I want to be on TV. I'm not running for no office. And I'm concerned about where I live at. And I mean, this court can do what it wants to, but I'm begging you to come down and help us. And I'm going to take my seat. I can come back again, and you don't want me to talk, that's all right. But
Well,
I'm just asking you, Judge, you've been down there,
I've been there.
Brian Morris been down there, Jeff Anderson's been down there, and Jackie Darrell's been down there, and Mr. Hayes been down there. And I ain't got no quarrel with Mr. Hayes. I admired the man
Well-
as a person and a lawyer.
John, tell me this. That was a housing thing was done down there. Everybody knew where the highway was and the lot they bought. How'd this get this way?
By people,
But people live there.
Yeah, that's how it got there, Judge.
So,
We didn't have this problem with drainage when I moved there. I guess I was about the seventh house, but I was the first one bought a lot in that bottom when they sold it. But I love it down there. It's a good neighborhood.
I've been down there. It's a nice place.
And I ain't got a thing. Only thing I'm asking this court to do, and I have begged to this court. I've been coming here over a year and a half, and I just wanted a drainage put in down there so water can get out of their body. You know, the people lives in the middle, and they won't admit it. They got water under their house. It have to be. The much water come from the backside.
How could the people down there let that happen?
Well, like you say, Judge, there's some people moved in down there.
I know.
And they done what they wanted to do.
Well, what you people should have lived and should have brought that up.
Well, should have, but, like everything else, Judge.
John, I like you, and
I like you too, Judge. I supported you in the election.
Yeah.
I did. On account of you and your wife.
But
And I don't have nothing against nobody. I supported Jeff Anderson when people down there wouldn't even help him. But he went against me here. But I'll take my seat, and I hope you'll pray on the matter, that you'll want to come down there and do something. I don't have a thing against Jeff Anderson. I don't. And I always supported him and tried to help him. But he went against me here at the fiscal court. And I'm going to take my seat. Thank you, Judge, for giving me this opportunity to speak. And I thank Mr. Morris over there. What you done today here in this court, trying to save money for this county. It should have been done years ago.
Yep.
It's probably more money is wasted. And I hope you'll clear it up.
Hey, John,
Thank you, John.
I'd like to say you're welcome on my part anytime you want to come, but I'd like for us to go down to Hidden Valley. You've put it on the map. I don't know where it is, but I'd like to go look at that little place and see what we can do to put this behind us and fix that problem. You know, I told you a few meetings ago that we'd probably get the Mountain Parkway fixed before you get your ditches. I don't know what we like. I thought Jackie and I went down there and pulled them ditches and got the water off of everything. But if there's a problem, I think this court needs to go look at before we vote to settle this thing, get it behind us.
Well, I don't want to come here and cause ever fiscal court. I don't want to come here. It makes me nervous,
Or you don't seem like you're nervous. Sound like
but God
you're doing a
knows
good
my
job.
heart here today. I don't have nothing against none of my neighbors down there. I mean, I'm telling you the truth, Mr. Dodson. I try to live according to God's will there. I feel like He forgave me my sin in 1969.
I like to make a motion.
I want a home in heaven when this life is over with. And I don't care what Mr. Hayes said. I want on TV.
Did I say that you wanted on TV, John Thacker?
well, you
You say you
didn't
don't
say
have
it.
anything against
No,
me, but you
no.
jump on me every court meeting.
No, I haven't.
You like to tell about being a minister. I happen to be an ordained minister.
I know you
And let's
are.
treat one another with Christian brotherly love. You always have to get on to me in these court meetings. And you know who made the decision.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you.
All right, the commissioners and directors' comments.
Judge, I made a motion, I'm gonna get a second officer, go down to Hidden Valley and see what the problem is, and get it behind us, get it over with, so he won't have to.
I've been down there and looked at it. Water won't run uphill.
Well, we
How
need
they,
to-
how they designed something like that, I don't know.
Well, if it's regular commissioner's comments thing here, I thought he answered me 2 weeks ago. The ditch problem has been took care of, the water, I think. Now, sometimes you get real heavy rain and people call it an act of God, sometimes you can't deal with things. But ditches has been dug down there, and I thought that issue was solved. One neighbor don't like the ditch there going through there, but it's her property, and it's taking care of the water problem in most cases. And then the poles that was blocking the garbage trucks getting through there, that's been cut down and solved. The weeds bush was sticking out in the road about 5 foot. The preacher that works for Appalachian Power, or Kentucky Power, he went and asked me to give him some time. He was going to cut them for his widow, and he's cut those bushes back, and maybe a little bit on the corner, but I went down and checked and done a pretty good job on that, the preacher has, and cut them back 10, yeah. And he's fulfilled his words and cut that, and so I think things is pretty clear down there now. I can't see too many issues going on at this time.
All right, thank you. You have any comments? You?
And I got one more thing to say here before I'm into it. I got derailed on that little thing. It's been kind of an aggravating situation. We got in District 5 on Coon Creek, we got a tree. I talked to him once about it, and I got a big old beech tree. It fell in the road. It's half of it's rotten. It's real high in the air, probably about 5 foot
That's
thick.
Wind's Branch.
Wind's Branch. Yeah, I got another problem. But Wind's Branch is where it fell there and broke a fence in for Kathy Burke. But big trees fell in the road, and it's a danger to the public. And I got a gentleman to cut it for $700, and I thought that was a pretty good deal. But I got another guy to give me another price last week, try to save money, and he said he'd do it for $300. Him and his crew. So I need to get that done, and then I don't know if it takes one thing at a time, but then on Ford Mountain and Sycamore, I talked to the court about that, where the road is fell in, was big wire baskets was up there on Ford Mountain, which is a bad deal to start with, because that way up road leans, the water gets in there in wire baskets and sitting on dirt. Eventually, I know that would come out, which I wasn't here when that was done. But anyway, it's there, and half the road's about fell out. And I talked to the new drill people, it's drilling steel, and the other guy wanted $80-some thousand to fix that. Well, this new guy says he can put 2 rolls of steel through there and do it for $42,000, Jeff. And the one on...
Is that at Ford Mountain?
That's Ford Mountain.
40,
He said he could do it 40, so we're saving $40-some thousand there with this new contractor, and he put 2 rolls of steel. And winter's coming on, and that causes more problems, and we got a bad issue right now, and it's going to get worse. It ain't going to get better unless we work on it. It's a real hazard to people, or garbage trucks, and people commuting across that mountain. Then also on Sycamore Mountain, as I was talking to Ike Friday on it, he says it's getting almost impassable there. It's keeping slipping. When FEMA come and wrote that up, for some reason it didn't get wrote up well enough, and they tried to fix it with rocks, but it keeps sliding in. And that guy came down on that job. I think the last guy was in here doing steel wanted 60-some thousand, and this guy would do that one for 47,000. So
Would that have to come out of my road fund?
Huh?
Would the 90,000 have to come out of my road fund?
Yeah, I got, at your district there, the one was 42 and one's 47. I guess you could choose your poison there, because that's 2 big projects, but one of them needs to be done. Because you got 3 ways out of there, and 2 of them's in dire need of being protected to keep it safe for our people.
The one on Sycamore, Ike and I, which I've been over there several times, the one on Sycamore Mountain where the slide,
right?
There's an old gas well road that we think may have undermined the county road. So would you care to check? And I'm not even sure what gas company road, to be honest with you. I don't know what gas company had that.
There's a road there's been there many years. When I done a project over there in 2004 on a cleanup program, that road, I think that was one of the roads that I even traveled down through there to get garbage. So it's been there a while, but some gas company has got a road there, and that whole road the gas company's got, plus earth shoulder, and all was slipping down toward the hollow. I was in hopes of that, sit down there and seek a stability, but it's not looking too good. We put a drain in the ditch to the left there where people could get over and not be as much in danger. And I haven't looked at it lately, but Ike told me it's getting almost
It
impossible.
is. I got some pictures,
Somebody even wrecked there. I don't know if it's their carelessness or what, but somebody put a vehicle over the hill there I've seen on Facebook.
Yeah, they did.
So it's a dire need we got. This county is one county, as though it's one nation. We need that road fixed bad.
Do we need to bid that out?
No, for the drillers, we don't need. We done got a driller in place. He's got the bid to do the job.
Okay.
Because we done got a driller in place there to do the county work for a year.
Which one you talking about, Jake?
But it's 42,000 for the Ford Mountain and 47 for the Sycamore deal. But that bidder, or driller, it's from around the Wimpson area, has dropped the price considerable to fix that. About in half, better than half, really.
Well, the
but
problem
something needs to be done badly.
Well, and I agree. The only issue that I don't want to run into is depleting my entire road fund before winter, and then be sitting here for 6 months with no money. Why don't you get up with me later this week and let's go look at it? Maybe call the contractors or the guy that's got the bid, whoever it is, and see if we can't pick his brain a little bit.
Jack, have you bid that project?
No. We got
bids in place.
This guy, we bid it out every year on the driller, and we got a new bidder this year on the drill machine. Yeah. And you don't bid that out. He gets jobs everywhere. He's over in Leo's district tomorrow doing some drilling.
We just bid the drill steel by the foot. It doesn't matter what kind of job we have done. We just pay him I think it's $27.50 a foot to put the steel in, and it could be any job, whether it's flood related or not. It's just his price per foot to put it in. But like on that one site on Sycamore, that was a FEMA flood site.
Yeah.
They only allowed like $5,000 to fix it, and I know the road crew took the rock and went in there and did the work that constituted the repair, but like you said, it failed, so I mean, technically.
Yeah, I think there were some questions.
I mean, I don't know if you still charge that to FEMA and not to your road account, but then who comes up with the money?
Right. Well, there's no doubt it needs to be fixed. I just didn't want to be in a
Right.
position. Like, I know the paperwork, I think Ike said he had talked to you, maybe it wasn't written up.
I mean, my opinion on it is it was wrote as a FEMA site.
Right.
And, we're responsible to repair it, which we did, and the repair failed. So does that mean that we're still responsible to keep fixing it until it does hold?
Will we get some guidance from FEMA as to what we?
No, I mean, as far as the paperwork as far as FEMA goes, it was just a small project, a $5,000 project, and we did $5,000 worth of work. They just didn't write it up for enough.
Right.
I mean, they should have wrote it up from steel to start with.
Right.
I mean, if they can come up with some extra funds, I mean, I really think it should be charged to FEMA and not to your road account, that site. But now the Ford Mountain site.
Yeah, I may have to eat that. And it's bad. Actually, both of them are bad spots.
Right.
Can you check with FEMA, Jack? Or I can call them. I don't have any problem calling them.
Can you go back after that, though, and get FEMA to give us more money? I think I discussed that with you earlier and tried to go back. I tried to go that angle before, and he said I couldn't.
No, once they write that as a small project, they, unless you have like an overrun on all your small projects, you can't, but you can't change the scope of the work. And I mean, they only wrote up $5,000 worth of a repair. You can't go do $50,000 worth of work and expect to get paid back for it.
All right. You have anything to say? You have anything more? You?
Just to remind everybody, we still have the Hatfield-McCoy over at the Hatfield-McCoy Outdoor Theater. They're still running the Blood Song for Fridays and Saturdays in the month of August. And we finished the fence over there. The Sheriff's Department's keeping down the traffic, and it's been very well attended. And also we'll be working with Public Works on getting the mulch out in the next couple of weeks. So.
You have any comments?
But the fence is finished, right?
Yes, it is.
John Doug, let's see. You have any comments, John Doug?
No comment, Judge.
All right. And Pike County Judge Joseph, I have no comments. Where's all the money is all I want to know. Anyway, need a motion for adjournment. Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson, Magistrate Murphy, Magistrate Robinson, Magistrate Dotson,
Yes.
Magistrate Barney, Judge Deskins.
Yes.